Are you thinking about moving to the Houston area and you're interested in new construction? In this video, I'm gonna break down the pros and cons, the true pros and cons of buying new construction in the greater Houston area. My name is Aaron, and I'm a realtor in the greater Houston area, and I help buyers every week make the determination between lifestyle and where they wanna live. And I match those two things together to the best of my abilities, right? And if you have any questions at all about the greater Houston area, about where to live, where to eat, sleep, have fun, any of those things, I'm your guy. Feel free to shoot me a text, give me a call, hit me with an email, shoot me a message on any of my social media, hit the comment section down below. Anything that, whatever is easiest for you to get in touch with me, I'm here to help. I'm your guy. So the first thing that we kind of got to break down about new construction is that there's kind of several different levels of new construction in the Houston area. So you kind of have like one-off kind of builders where somebody will buy a piece of land and build a house on it. Then there's a couple steps up above that in like the Houston kind of like city limits where they'll have a bigger plot of land and there's like a small developer that'll put between 10 and 20 kind of townhomes, condos, whatever the case may be for that area. That's another kind of sector of new construction here. And then you have your like big home builders, so like your Perry Homes, your David Weekleys, your Gins, all of those like very big, well-known names. That's a whole different sector. But in between all of those, there's some pros and cons that kind of come along with buying new construction that I just want to make sure that you know everything about it before you go and make that decision, right? So hopping right into it, the first thing that you gotta know is that if you go directly to a new construction community and you are unrepresented, that sales agent represents the builder. So right out the gate, there's no one there to kind of protect your best interest. And I had a couple fraternity brothers of mine as I was just getting into real estate, just in general. So I was brand new. I was kind of doing it part-time a few years back. And I had a couple fraternity brothers that ended up not using me, and that's fine. And they went and signed a contract with the builder. A couple weeks into that transaction, the builder did some things that they didn't agree with. They changed some finishes on them. They moved the deadline, and it was just a bunch of things that were just kind of like red flags on their end. But had they gone into that agreement with somebody on their end, there could have been more pushback, but they didn't, right? They went into it basically on their own, and it's just like you're working with the builder, the builder's employee, and then there's you, and they're on one side, right? That builder cuts that sales agent a check to represent their best interest. No one is in that transaction for you. And unfortunately for, my fraternity brothers, they just kind of had the raw end of the deal. That contract pushed and pushed and pushed. Things were changed. Things were added that they didn't agree with. They didn't quite understand that contract. And I don't want to say that everybody's like that, but by and large, if you go in there unrepresented, the way contracts just kind of work in Texas is they don't represent you. So it is 100% not a smart idea to kind of go alone. The next con with kind of going into new construction is that you got to know that, and I kind of mentioned it just now, is that deadlines push, timelines push, right? There's so many moving parts. There's weather, there's materials, that's labor, that's all kind of wrapped up into new construction. And if you're especially if you're building from the ground up, at one point in time last year, the timeline to get a contract and have it from the ground up was like 5 months. Right now, in such a crazy market, that's fluctuating between 6 and 8 months, right? And if you have a timeline that's predicated on you not paying a ridiculous rent from month to month, those 3 months matter if your rent is gonna double or triple while you're waiting for this house to be built. And it's kind of hard to structure that and manage that on your own, especially if you don't necessarily have the background to know everything that goes into buying a new construction. Like, if you don't understand the permitting, if you don't understand the order of sequencing in between how things are built, just practically, if you don't understand that, it's kind of hard to look at something or a building in the state that it's in and say, yeah, they're on task, or no, they're going to be behind. That's just kind of really hard to do, especially if this is your first time building a home. The next con with new construction is that taxes, especially in the suburb, this is more so a suburb con, is that because you're getting these schools and these amenities and these walking trails and these pools and all these cool things, your taxes are going to be super high. And Houston is one of those areas where the tax rate can be like high ones all the way up to like 4. I've seen a couple that were like low 4s. And so the $250 that you would pay for a new construction, if you could find one in the city, would be much different than like a Resharon or Pearland or a Spring, any of those like buzzword kind of cities that are really cool and kind of growing very fast around the city of Houston. Your taxes are going to be super high, and the difference between $200 or $300 extra a month just for the amenities and the schools and things that you're going to be paying for. The next con that has just been happening specifically local to here in Houston is that the prices have gone up so fast. Like, in this market, things are just shooting up. You know, I have a client that bought in the Lakes of Savannah area, which is a nice suburb area in the Resharon area. And when they bought, they were able to get a super nice home. It was like 1,800 square feet, 1,900 square feet, and it was just around $240 when they bought it. 6 months later, I had a client that was looking in that same community that once started at a $180 price point, and the starting prices for their smallest home, which was about 1,400 to 1,500 square feet, their smallest home was starting at $240. So unfortunately, the longer you kind of take to get in new construction, especially as the market is heating up and things are going the way they are, the prices are just kind of pricing a lot of people out. And, you know, and it's forcing people to make the decision of, do they want to live somewhere that is transitioning? Do they want to live with, you know, the things that are in their neighborhood while they deal with that transition? Or do they want to pay, you know, between $200 and $300 more a month to get a better school, better amenities and things of that nature around them? And that's kind of just hard to deal with sometimes. And I know that I've had clients that go both ways, and you can't miss. It just depends on what your lifestyle is, but it really depends a lot. Where you go depends on like how much you're gonna pay. Like I said, $250 in the city is not the same $250 as it would be in the deep suburbs. The next con that I would like to talk about is that depending on kind of where you are, it's hard to get the lifestyle that you want, right? So for instance, my wife and I, we bought a new construction in the city. There aren't amenities around us, right? And it's kind of touching on that last part. There aren't amenities around us like at all. We kind of are in a dodgy part of town. You know, I love where we are. It's shot up great in a value, but I pay way less than a couple of my friends who have cheaper houses in the suburbs. I pay way less, but they have the pools, they have the gyms, they have the walking trails, they have all of those things around us. So you have to pick between what you kind of really want in your home. Another con that is kind of going on right now in our market, specifically here in Houston, is that there's such a delay on building. You know, sometimes the builder can kind of outpace themselves. They're so pumped. They're moving so many units and so many houses, and that there is a freeze. There's a couple of my favorite communities right now that I've gotten some clients into just within the last couple months that are no longer selling what they call dirt, right? They've just overcommitted, and now there's a waiting list. And I know that's sometimes kind of hard to deal with when you're looking to buy a house and kind of make that next transition, but you're on a wait list that has 30 people in front of you, which is not uncommon here. I have a couple clients right now on wait lists just trying to hope to see if they can actually get into a house. But enough with all the cons, enough of the doom and gloom. Let's get into some of the positive things that I actually really love about new construction. And the first thing is there's so much less competition. So if you get to a community that is selling and that is, kind of working towards opening up different sections and moving forward, if you can get into a community, if you can get into and find a community like that, there's so much less competition because you're probably going to build exactly what you want, and the next person isn't going to want that. So you're not fighting over an inventory house like you would be for a new construction house that was already built, or a pre-existing house that was already built, right? So it's just a huge benefit in reducing the stress if you build ground up, because you can get it. It'll take some time, but you can get it. The next thing that I think is a super big positive and a pro for buying new construction is that oftentimes the incentives that they give you are amazing. Some lenders that they work with, if you use their preferred lender, will have, down payment assistance. They can give you money towards closing costs. They'll give you money towards, upgrades to the house, all of that stuff. It's so many things that they'll throw at you that you don't even think about. The next pro is the overall just efficiency of that house. So when we first moved here, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in the Midtown area. It was a fairly old, so it was built in like 1980, 1990 kind of apartment. So not super old, but kind of old. Our apartment was like 800 square feet. I was paying like $180 a month just for energy. And our current house that we just bought is like double the size, triple the size. And I pay like $95 to $100 a month. And that's just because the efficiency of the materials used and the equipment used, the windows, everything is just so much more efficient that's one of the cost savings that people don't think about when buying new construction. And it's just something that can add up, that $500 to $600 a year saved just from energy cost alone is huge when tallied year over year over year. So at the end of this year, that would be almost $1,000 to $1,500 that we've saved since we've been here a couple of years now. And that's just something that most people don't think about. Another pro to getting new construction is that you're the first, right? You're the first person in it. And this is just my peace of mind. You're the first butt on that toilet. You're the first butt in that tub. You're the first person that shower, the first person to use that microwave, all that stuff. You're the first. And so to me, it's just a peace of mind that this is brand new. I'm the first. No one else has done anything to break this thing or mess this thing up. And that peace of mind is everything to me. And that kind of goes into my final and probably the most important thing about buying new construction is that the warranties. Most builders give you a 5 to 10 year foundation and roof warranty. They'll give you years on appliances, so mechanical, plumbing, electrical, all of your big high dollar items that can break and go wrong as a homeowner, which they will, because that's home ownership. Things break. You get 1 to 2 years on those, and then you also get typically a craftsmanship warranty, where if little cracks or little things break here and there, they'll come and fix and replace them. And that warranty alone is worth the price of admission. You can't get that kind of a warranty aftermarket. It just doesn't exist. You're going to be paying money and you're going to get half the service, or you'll get a discount on replacing things, but it's not as good as new construction. So if you have any questions at all, if you're thinking about relocating or moving to or anywhere within the greater Houston area, you need some assistance, all of my information is going to be in the description box. Feel free to shoot me a text, give me a call, shoot me an email, follow all my social media. If you thought this video was great, shoot me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Also, consider subscribing. We're going to be dropping videos every week. I look forward to hearing from you. Hope you had a great day.